Welcome to the Larry Gomes Stadium here in Arima, Trinidad and Tobago. As Trinidad and Tobago get ready to face Canada on March 23rd and Jamaica get ready to face USA on March 21st. They go head-to-head today at the Larry Gomes Stadium for this friendly matchup. Whilst it feels like 34 degrees Celsius and the planes are in the sky, the actual temperature is 30 degrees Celsius, the humidity index of 54%. It's what's making it feel kind of warm, and the wind speeds are 10 kilometers per hour. We are here. My name is Hans Devines, and I'm going to be joined by the rest of our commentary team. Last time, 1-0 on Friday. Goal courtesy Hakeem Dixon put Jamaica ahead of Trinidad and Tobago, and we are in for a matchup today. Joining me right now, commentary team, James Saunders, experienced defenders for Trinidad and Tobago, Brent Sancho and for Abu Bakr. We are here on the pitch, gentlemen, and we're in for a game today. James, your assessment?
Well, final casting call for all of the supporters or supporting acts that would look to make the grand stage for these teams. Of course, at Trinidad and Tobago, they've got that all-important game against Canada. Angus E. for certain would have players in his mind. These players today will be looking to find a casting spot for that. Similarly for Jamaica as well.
Well, let's talk about Jamaica a little bit, Brent.
Well, Coach Halgrimson would have been satisfied from what he's seen on Friday. Some young players, of course, the Division Dixon, the one that, of course, was the pick of the bunch.
Yeah.
The likes of Alex Marshall, the winger, the tricky, deceptive, good in 1v1. But overall, I thought the bravado, the confidence that the Jamaicans exuded on Friday would please the coach. We know Jamaica is a team that predominantly has numerous players from outside of the shores, of course, from the diaspora. But I do feel there's one or two within that squad maybe looking at things, might be able to slip in some way with a good performance here today.
Rodolfo, let's talk about it from a Trinidad and Tobago perspective from our last matchup.
Yeah, final audition for these players in all likelihood. Just 3 weeks in from the Copa playoff. They're going to be keen to impress today. Those who are on the fringe of the team, we had some good performances last time out with Gibson, and Primus was solid in the center as well. He's the only starter that remains from the last game. So those guys are going to be pushing for spots today. It's not going to be a friendly game today. There's always that Caribbean rivalry. Every time I played in it, there was that bit of passion that Jamaicans bring. We know they have the athleticism as well, so it's going to be spicy today.
Rodolfo, we're going to come back to the experience in just a bit. But James, let's talk a little bit about the strategies either coach employed in terms of bringing on players, how they stretched it out. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, different objectives. For Jamaica, clearly, 14 uncapped players, a chance to look at them. So what he's done is balance those players across the 90 minutes for both these games. So you'd see a lot of players who played in the last match getting some minutes, and those who started on the bench getting some minutes, but then interchanging. But of course, Trinidad and Tobago, Angus Eve, two separate squads, 90 minutes, and well, it's your call. How bad do you want it?
All right, guys, final point. Let's talk a little bit about the inexperience, the way it would have affected the team.
Well, I think today for Jamaica, we saw several tactical changes on Friday. I expect the same here today, but you'd want to see a solid performance by most of his charges.
Well, solid performances are what both teams would be aiming for, but you can get solid performance in terms of sport just by downloading the SportsMax app today. When we come back around, Trinidad and Tobago versus Jamaica here at the Larry Gomes Stadium.
Stadium, live here in Trinidad and Tobago for this all-important friendly international between Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica. As we have a look at Larry Gomes Stadium, nestled here in Arima. Both teams, of course, understanding the importance of this friendly. We talked about some of the cost players that's on the bubble. Both teams have respective matches against Canada and the US of A. And I'm very sure there are some exciting possibilities that both coaches will be looking at.
Well, in just a second, we'll get our first pictures of the players. Jamaica winning the first of the two friendly matches last Friday at the Hazley Crawford Stadium. A match, of course, played without fans. Today, well, the story is quite different. Lots of shuffles in their lineup, and right on cue, the cast that will entertain us for the next 90 minutes here at the Larry Gomes Stadium in Trinidad and Tobago. A warm welcome to welcome the boys of the red, white, and black, and from the land of wood and water. Lots of new faces in the lineup for both these teams. Both coaches, of course, using the opportunities to blood lots of new players ahead of the Nations League and the Copa America playoffs. The men from the land of wood and water, metal and steel is what will be required today. A rapturous applause to welcome the home team, Trinidad and Tobago. Second of two friendly internationals here at the Larry Gomes Stadium. James Saunders is my name, joined by former World Cup defender Brent Sancho and former TNT international Radanfa Abubakar. In just a second, we will get the team introductions. But guys, your first thoughts on this fixture?
Yeah, you mentioned the last game and the inexperience that Trinidad and Tobago fielded. Angus Eve did mention that at his post-game press conference, the lack of belief that some of those guys showed. What he has done this time around is obviously gone with a little more experienced players. Only Primus remains from that last game. And this 11 here has caps under their belt. They've been in around the team for a little bit longer than the last group. So I expect a better performance from Trinidad certainly today.
Also, Cecile Hines will carry the whistle. Nikolai Nyron, Kurt Charles, and Melissa Nicholas will be the assistant.
And I think for the men here in black, the Reggae Boys, it really is a question of which one of this bunch can squeeze their way into the possibilities of playing against the US of A.
All right, let's dig into the lineups. Just two surviving members from the last game with Jamaica came away 1-0 winners. Wright will be expected to shoulder lots of the attacking burden with Thomas. Alex Marshall has been a thorn in the side, while Anglin will pull strings in midfield. Jaime Halgrimson is the coach.
Well, they were set up in a 4-1-2-3 formation. Anglin anchors the midfield for the Reggae Boys. Look at Fletcher and Thomas to provide support to Wright. And the talented Marshall, who showed flashes of individual brilliance, will be expected to continue in the same vein.
Well, Angus Eve started 5 debutants in his last lineup. No such thing this time around. The likes of Michael Poon and Geron. Dwayne Mockett comes in to add some midfield solidity. Jean-Paul Rushford, Kylie Aubrey, and of course Nathaniel James, who campaigns in the Jamaican Premier League, will be expected to provide some attacking bite. Angus Eve is the coach.
Yeah, all these players already capped. Primus remains from the last game. I expect Goddard and Angeron to anchor the midfield with Mockett, Aubrey, and Rushford providing that attacking thrust. Natalia and James might drift a little bit deeper into midfield as Mockett goes beyond them and Aubrey comes up this side as well as Rushford. But that's how they will line up today.
Determination and grit, always expected. Two key facets every time these teams meet in competition. Jamaica holding the advantage in the last 4 fixtures with 2 wins, a defeat and a draw. Trinidad and Tobago, pride is at stake playing in front of their home fans. Nathaniel James campaigned this season in the Jamaica Premier League. Mount Pleasant United, they sit second in the standings, and they've got a full bench to complement the first team this time around. An opportunity for both coaches to have a look at some of their players ahead of key fixtures in a couple of weeks' time. All eyes on the referee, and it's kickoff here at the Larry Gomes Stadium. Jamaica in the black and gold against Trinidad and Tobago in the red, white, and black. Well, Alex Marshall, first touch isn't the best touch he's had all season. Certainly was one of the key Jamaica players in the last time these teams met. Well, it is quite cool conditions. 4 p.m. kickoff here in Trinidad and Tobago. Just a slight wind around the ground. Of course, Sahara dust has been one of the key factors in terms of weather. Hasn't played a significant factor so far in the early goings of this match as Primus gets up tall.
Yeah, delighted to see Primus in the lineup today, a guy who's been dogged with injuries throughout his career, but he's been consistent with Police this season and last season with AC Port of Spain, and certainly deserves his chance to get a look in today.
Oh, that's a look in behind as Rush Jr. gets his head on it, and well, the whistle has gone against the La Hogata Rangers man. Will be a Jamaica free kick. Romario Guthrie, one of the players selected in the starting lineup today, did come off the bench. Did get a goal in a warm-up fixture prior to this match before coming to Trinidad and Tobago. Certainly like to get on the team sheet again. This is deep inside the area, and it's Jamal Jack getting the final touch.
Tell you what, that's good defending by Jack. Not sure how aware he was to where his man is in terms of the person he's supposed to be picking up defensively, but he was able to deal with it because certainly there was an opportunity to be had.
Well, always an active fellow, Angus Eve. Most capped player, Trinidad and Tobago history, as Goddard swings it away, not convincingly. And, well, the whistle comes to the rescue of the men in red. Cecile Hines, one of the 5 FIFA officials here in Trinidad and Tobago, spotting the infringement. It has been a keen contest for the goalkeeping position. Of course, Denzel Smith, not with Club Sando, competing with the likes of Christopher Bigot for the #1 position with your fellow teammate Marvin Phillip, now retired.
Yeah, Adrian Fonset in the mix there as well. He gives a little more experience, but I think it's with Denzel at the moment. He's had a superb CONCACAF Nations League, outstanding, very composed, shows good poise, good with his feet as well. So I think going forward, this looks like Angus is #1 for now.
Alvin Jones losing that battle to Alex Marshall. It's Thomas. It's pulled by Jack. And Jamaica will have a free kick.
Yeah, Thomas, of course, top scorer in last year's Caribbean Cup with Cavalier FC. He scored 8 goals in that competition. Always there and thereabouts, physical presence, big lad, and has a good instinct and good eye for the goal. They must be wary today, Trinidad, of his threat.
Oh, look at this. Had to be wary of that. Denzel Smith kept his eyes on it all the way through. Signals of intent from the Reggae boys.
Yeah, first to settle the Jamaicans. Troubling the TNT backline with some direct play so far, not letting them out the half.
Well, I'm not surprised because after the game, the assistant coach for Jamaica, Merrin Gordon, spoke to the fact that he felt that they played a little bit too far off the Trinidadians in the first half or so. In the second half, they changed things up in that game and pressed a bit higher up the park. So they've started that way already in this game. And it has been difficult for Trinidad.
Oh, that's the song of the party. Rhythm section, always key facet of any fixture in the island of oil. Oh, they're already enjoying what they're seeing so far. Oh, Rosso's throw is snuffed out. And it will be Denzel Smith to take the free kick. Here's Dwayne Mockett. Alvin Jones. Rochford's pass is cut out. Will be a throw. Or given room to build up out of the back. Trinidad and Tobago as Goddard gets in possession. Ross Jr. Michel Pounageron. Bit of confidence in the play of the red, white, and black as the Jamaicans retreat. Oh, that's too much for Kylie Aubrey. Just been beaten by the bunks.
Jamaica certainly the earlier to settle, not allowing Trinidad and Tobago outside of their half.
Oh, this is a foot race. Gets in behind Jamal Jack. It's Thomas. Looks for some support. Well, does find it. And no room in the end. Denied at the last hurdle. But they got in behind the Trinidad and Tobago backline, Alex Marshall.
Yeah, maybe thought he could have done a little bit better, Alex Marshall. It's a good long ball, probing one out of the back. He finds the willing run there of St. Neil Thomas. Nice, clever ball. looking for Marshall. That touch let him down a bit and allowed Goddard to come back and snuff the danger.
Gucci will line this one up. Got all the big men in the area. Ball in at the front door. Denzel Smith, though, well alert to the danger. Primus. Punanjon. Nathaniel James finds a yard of space and ball stripped up in the end.
That's good movement from Angeron coming in that force fullback area, so that allows Alvin Jones to push on and they get width higher up the field so they could actually advance the ball better.
Well, for all their early possession, still haven't been able to find penetration higher in the Jamaican third of the pitch. And Punanjon losing that battle to Alex Marshall. And Alvin Jones doing enough.
Yeah, Angeron caught in possession there. It really is worth sometimes just clipping the ball in behind the centre back and the wing back. So turn the defenders. We all want to play through the midfield sometimes, but sometimes it's not possible. And by playing it behind them, you get them stretched a bit, and then you're able to play in front of them after. Especially early on in the game.
Well, it will be another corner for the Jamaicans. Another opportunity to press one in at goal. All of the big men from the back, King and company. 9 players in black in and around the penalty area. Romario Gucci couldn't squeeze it in at the front door, and the foul as well would be a Trinidad and Tobago free kick. Well, the fans are just beginning to pour in here at the Larry Gomes Stadium, named, of course, after the famous West Indian cricketer. And Nathaniel James was hoping to make his name famous here.
Yeah, the fans unable to witness the last game. So one thing about Trinidad fans, they do have the appetite for football. Once it's advertised correctly and it's in a decent time and venue, they will come out and support their team.
Jack. Looking for Marshall. Gotten past Jack. And, well, had to pull him back. No foul, says Cecile Hines. Kylie Aubrey was the intended target. Ball cut out.
So for me, you can stack Nathaniel James on top of Kylie Aubrey, and they still wouldn't be taller than the shortest centre back for Jamaica. So that ball has to go in behind, away from the centre backs. They can't win an aerial duel against those two.
Here's King. Time and space to pick out Rosso. Oh, swung his man, no pressure. As the black shirts continue to probe. Heavy touch. Allows Primus to get a boot in, but it's still with the Jamaicans. And Denzel Smith to the rescue for Trinidad and Tobago.
That's good work from Jamal Jack. They're going to have their hands full today against those front three of Jamaica.
Aubrey. Goddard. Finds Dwayne Mockett. Most capped player on the pitch at the moment. 18 caps for the national team. Jones. Well, they're appealing for a corner, but the assistant referee, Kurt Charles, signaling a goal kick.
So that time it was the turn of Dwayne Muckett to come in the false full-back position and send Alvin Jones forward. That helps them advance the ball on the floor.
Jamal Jack was allured to the danger and fouled in the process. Well, he's not happy about something, that man in your picture. Quite happy to hold their lines, the Jamaicans. Aubrey tries to probe. Unanjaron. Daniel James tried to pick out Russ Jr. in behind, and easy in the end for the Jamaicans to shepherd out of possession.
So that's what I mentioned before kickoff. Natalian James will drop into midfield. He is creative, but who then goes beyond him? Who fills that number 9 area? If he gets it, plays it wide, who now fills that number 9 spot for cutbacks, for crosses, for through balls?
Oh, they'll battle for this. Won by Primus. Scutri in traffic. And foul committed. Seal Hines signaling.
Heavy challenge on Thomas from Primus, but here, man, Jamal Jack won't shy away from that at all. They're big, robust guys. And I'll tell you something, Primus, for his size, is lightning quick. He really is.
Well, a group of fans Sunday afternoon in Trinidad and Tobago coming out to have a look at the national team in action. It's always a tasty fixture when these teams meet. Both teams cat and mouse at the moment. Just probing each other, trying to find spaces. Oh, Goddard has done really well in finding some here. Needed a better service in the end.
Well, there's not much room in the middle of the park for either team. And that's certainly indicative in the type of game we've seen. Both teams on a couple of occasions has done just that. Bypass the middle of the park and try to go a little bit direct. Trinidad has been probing, but it is difficult. It's a lot of numbers there.
That's a clever turn. Just couldn't find the coordinates in the end.
Rushed his shot. I think he had more time than he thought after he was able to just get away from Primus for a bit. Maybe he could have taken another touch and get closer to goal. A little bit hasty in the strike.
Well, there's Hema Halgrimsson, a man credited with Iceland's run at the Euros some years back, former dentist, now in charge of the Jamaican national program. Primus with space to charge forward, picks out Russell. Goddard turning into traffic, and it's Jamaica that will come forward.
Yeah, in that instance, could Goddard be a little more positive? Could he look forward, try to get it into feet, and get up in support as soon as he does that?
Well, possession lost. It's back with the Jamaicans. Marshall making the run in behind, and just too long for him in the end. Applauds the effort, though. And of course, Angaseve, the most capped international player for Trinidad and Tobago, 128 times wearing the national colours. Trusted, trying to lead the troops to the promised land, the Copa America. Got that playoff match against Canada coming up. This match is critical in selecting players who might fill some of the gaps.
Keep going, Kai.
Here's James. He's got a burst of pace about him. No room to get past his man as Marshall does the defensive work and is fouled in the process.
So you'd have seen even as the ball is played wide from Aubrey to James, it's picking up a bit of a bubble. We spoke about it off here before the kickoff. The grass here is really, really low, and the surface is quite firm underneath. So that gives you a bit of a bubble. I saw the Jamaican coach as well have a try at the surface, had the ball roll over, and he didn't look overly pleased by it. So certainly that's going to be a bit of a challenge with playing quickly through midfield along the floor.
Well, we're already seeing it, Rodolfo, to your point, where, of course, both teams are trying that short passing game. One touch, maybe 2 touches in some occasions. But because of the type of bubble that they get in the football, they end up taking 2-3 touches. And it's slowed the game down in terms of its tempo, A, and then B, in terms of the fluidity of the game. It hasn't really been intense. It's been very scrappy and disjointed. And you'd have to say, gentlemen, that the surface has played its part.
Yeah, for sure. I'm even guessing that they may have had some extra instructions from the Jamaican bench to play a little more direct as a result of that.
Punanja unpicked, and Jamaica will look to go forward. Well, had a sight of goal, thought about it for a minute. Maybe Alex Marshall can pick somebody out in the back door. Not convincingly cleared, and well, finally Punanja gets there, deflected, could have gone anywhere. The crossbar coming to Denzel Smith's rescue. Well, they're living dangerously at the moment, Trinidad and Tobago. The Jamaicans, they're surging. A big moment for Jamaica.
Clearing the danger in the end, but yeah, a little bit scrappy. They did eventually get it clear, but not convincing defending on that occasion.
Oh, here's Nathaniel James. He's found Kylie Aubrey. Well, tried to take on everybody, couldn't pass any. Settled for a throw.
Yeah.
Of course, Kylie Aubrey and Nathaniel James now campaigning in the Jamaican Premier League, Mount Pleasant Academy. One of 3 players in this squad, campaigning in the JPL. You think back several years, Brent, and you think of the likes of Russell Latipi, who have played in the Jamaican League.
Liaison Lewis, of course, to name some. It's been one of those things where after the Jamaica League, when Russell and they did play, you had, of course, the likes of players from St. Lucia, St. Vincent, etc., St. Kitts coming here to Trinidad to play in our professional league. And it's going back to the Jamaican League right now. Of course, the restart of the TTPFL. We may see that shift again, but it's good that we have different avenues for players in the Caribbean to apply their trade and certainly help them on the pathway for development, because those leagues was certainly part and parcel of the developmental process for some of our top Caribbean talent.
Well, they're finding a bit more space now. Rush Jr. pushes forward. Aubrey. Lightning quick feed, Kylie Aubrey. Just see that bit of wobble there as he ran across the surface. Mocket. Haven't seen much from the magician. Now he picks out his club teammate, Punanja. Beginning to be a bit more comfortable than we saw in the opening minutes. Now the men in red. Jones. Paul decides to take Alex Marshall for a run. No one in the end though. As the Jamaicans happy to see this one roll out. Andre Fletcher just shepherding it out.
Yeah, good move from Alvin Jones to get away from his man half a yard to get the cross, which is eventually disappointing. But good to see Kylie Aubrey coming off the wing and getting across his man in the front post. Just the vacant position he left, it's where the ball unfortunately went.
Well, they will have to be clever, won't they, Trinidad and Tobago, to find spaces in between the lines, because that's where the challenge is, to really be able to get into those sorts of positions and impact the attacking flow for Trinidad and Tobago, because it's a very compact midfield. Of course, we've seen Jamaica so far be a little bit more direct, and that man in your picture has been very involved in their direct play, Jason Wright. And they feel very comfortable in when they do go direct to eventually try to play balls out wide. So it's been a difference of approach by both teams. Nevertheless, you'd have to say maybe Jamaica has enjoyed the better part of 21 plus minutes or so.
Oh, it's a water break at the moment. Time for some hydration. Here's a 4 p.m. kickoff. Earlier than the usual time for matches of this stature. This venue, of course, no lights at this venue, and the early start is quite hot. Didn't stop them from coming out, though. Come out to see their team, of course, after missing out. Matthew Wooling, former national player, also spotted there.
Yeah, good time to just regroup and assess what has happened for the first 20 minutes or so. Both coaches, if a change in approach needs to be had, I think the Jamaican coach will be pleased with what he's seen. A little bit of worrying times, 1 or 2 incidents for Trinidad to worry about, but they have got into the game as Jamaica has fallen off a bit, and they've enjoyed a little bit more of the possession, and that should be a concern for the Jamaican coach as well.
And I got a look of Denzel Theobald, the former World Cup player, part of the high performance system here with the Trinidad and Tobago Football Federation just a while earlier. And of course, well, no strangers in local football. Abdallah Phillip, coach of Club Sando, Rishon Mars, former goalkeeper, and of course our former St. Augustine coach, Michael Grayson, all part of the picture. Wonder what those conversations would be like at Redanfa.
It's certainly football oriented. I've sat with a few of them sometimes, and it's only football that comes out of their mouth. So yeah, certainly they'll be discussing the game.
Mike Grayson, certainly a student, became a former coach at Star Wars Strikers as well. But I'll tell you what, the players have hydrated somewhat, and it's time to restart action. Quick note, Brent, from what you've seen so far in this match, what have you seen?
As I said, I think both teams have found the conditions difficult to settle into, and that's been indicative in the way things have gone. But there is a genuine attempt by both teams to try to impact on the offensive side of things, and it's really been a roadblock in some situations. One thing is for sure, the middle of the park is extremely congested, and the team that is able to navigate through that or around it will be the successful team.
Oh, they'll try again. Got some space here. Couldn't beat Jack. Fletcher has been really active on the left side of the attack for Jamaica. Rosso couldn't keep that one in. Goddard. Primus. Lots of space ahead of him. Fixed out Rush Jr. Major part of the Terminex Rangers team here in Trinidad and Tobago. So here's Ming. Oh, Cecile Hines spotting something that she didn't like. And finally play can get going. Mockett. Jones. Bit too far ahead. Jean-Paul Rutchford. And well, Jack taking no chances.
So just at that little water break, Fletcher and Marshall have switched flanks. Yeah, Marshall very, very tricky with his left foot. Now he's coming off the right flank to get inside, use that left foot to create chances, maybe get a shot off. He was a live wire in the first game, and he started positively here as well today.
Well, Rousseau is the man standing over this one. Hits it short this time. And this one won't trouble Denzel Smith in goal. Has been getting a bit further up the park, the left back Rousseau. Been given space to get forward.
Yeah, that could be given to the conditions. It's really warm out there. You're not going to be able to press for 90 minutes. So they could surrender the first third of the field, and that's fine. But as soon as the ball tries to get in the midfield, they get really close to the Trinidad players. Here we go. And they're not allowed to turn. They're not allowed to be comfortable on the ball at all.
Well, captain almost gifting possession back to Trinidad and Tobago. And the Jamaicans will try to capitalize now. Scutchery. Spoon Andrew for company. Anglin. Emilio Rosso pushing forward. They're connecting well, and well, commentators curse. Gifting possession back to Trinidad and Tobago. It's Marquette. Haven't seen that urge to attack spaces forward from the Trinidad and Tobago midfielders.
Unlike Jamaica, Guthrie recovered possession the play before, and when he played forward, he was on his bike, getting forward, enthusiastic to help the attack. It seems like the Trinidad and Tobago players are satisfied with it at, sort of pedestrian pace. They're not trying to get beyond any line with their running. And as a result, they haven't been able to penetrate. They haven't been able to get good possession in the opposition's half.
Oh, they will have an indirect opportunity to push forward. Rushford. Bit of a bubble. Back with Anglin, who pokes it forward. Kevon Goddard. Michel Poonandron. Ross Jr. doesn't like getting forward. Goddard. And, well, just gifted possession. Back to the Reggae Boys.
I don't think that's a bad ball, James. I don't think that's a bad ball. Rushford is on his heels. Could he be threatening in behind? Again, when you do that, you put a question mark in the defender's head. Should I drop in? And if they drop in, then your midfielders have space in front of them to play. But you've got to be brave. You've got to be selfless to make that run forward, to create space for your teammate.
Rushford. Well, that's a bad giveaway. And it's with Wright. He's got Guthrie to his left. Decides to go all alone and lose his possession.
That's an excellent recovery from Poonandron. Well done from the two centre-backs to slow the attack as well. That's good recovery from potentially a really bad situation.
Well, Alvin Jones could be in behind here. Gotten ahead of Rosso, needs a good service. Well, almost fell nicely. Nathaniel James to rescue. He's got Kylie Aubrey inside the area. And eventually running into traffic. No foul, says Cecile Hines. Excitements on both ends of the pitch the last few minutes.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of what I said. It's a direct ball. Is that ugly football? I don't think so. It's a direct pass. It's not a clearance. It's in space. It turns the defense, and they almost get their first chance on goal. It was half a chance.
Oh, Aubrey with a wonderful turn. Kylie Aubrey blocked out in the end by King. Stood firm. Oh, don't forget you can download the SportsMax app today. Get it on Google Play or download from the App Store. SportsMax app where you can capture all the live action on the go. Both teams have had their moments, Brent.
Yeah, they've had their moments. And to pick up on a point with Udamfa has mentioned, maybe Trinidad could be a little bit more mindful of going forward a bit faster. Sometimes when they win the ball in transition, maybe a forward pass is needed instead of going laterally or backwards. And that's how you can move yourself up the park in terms of your departments of the field. And I think if they brought that into the game, and a couple of times some of their midfielders winning the ball, and of course going backwards to their centre halves to start the play again instead of going on the attack right away. And that adds to the tempo and that adds to the fluidity, and maybe that's what's lacking a bit from Trinidad. But Jamaica, I think they're quite content in being able to stifle out Trinidad and Tobago And when they do get the ball to the likes of Marshall and, of course, that man Fletcher, they can get themselves, of course, into isolated situations that they could possibly take on the wing back.
Well, we've gone past the half-hour mark. Still no goals in this fixture. Of course, the second of 2 warm-up matches to these teams. First was won by Jamaica. A goal scored by 19-year-old Dixon. Dixon is on the bench of this fixture. Jaime Halgrimsson has decided to give more opportunities to other players. It's been a couple of times that we've seen a bit of bumps and swivels of the ball on the surface. How has the surface affected this match so far?
Yeah, sort of like we mentioned before, because there's a little bit of a bubble, you can't play as quickly as you want to. Under the surface, there's some parts that are a little slippery as well, so you've seen some players losing their footing every now and again. So I think it's a little bit inconsistent, the bounce and the speed which the ball is coming at you, and then it's a little bit slippery on the foot, so it's a challenge, but both teams have to play on the same pitch, so you have to take advantage of it as well. Force the other team to turn their own into their own goal area, to face their own goal, I should say. And that makes it more difficult for them.
Here's Aubrey. Got Russ Jr. for company. Clever. Mount Pleasant man gets in behind and, well, it couldn't beat Cunningham in the end. Well positioned and, well, talk about well positioned. Thomas found himself in a wonderful position. And Goddard treating well to win possession back for Trinidad and Tobago.
That's his game, Kevin Goddard, a real terrier in midfield. That's exactly what he will give you, again, from a potentially bad situation. Superb recovery from him. Get goal side, get your tackle in, slow the attack. Absolutely outstanding from Goddard there. That desire and that effort to get back, to clean up the little error from your partner, that's excellent.
Well, Rousseau swings this in the area, and Denzel Smith shows a clean pair of hands. Well, the crowd around the venue is really building up at the moment, Brent.
Yeah, it's good to see the fans have started to enter at the Larry Gomes Stadium. 4 o'clock kickoff. So they're just getting their positions. It's been relatively pleasing on the eye, the game so far. I think both teams endeavor to try to do the right things. As we look at the cross-section of spectators here, would have been pleased so far with the opening exchanges. As I said, I do feel that the difference in approach has been really the spectacle to watch. Jamaica living off the moments that Trinidad and Tobago give up the football. And of course trying to pounce on it, and Trinidad trying to probe and pull the Jamaicans apart. But it has been a lively 35 minutes or so.
Ross Jr. Stove comes off the head of Nathaniel James, who fouled his man prior to receiving. And, well, looks in a bit of discomfort. Ming, part of a Cavaliers team, currently atop of the JPL standings. One of 3 Cavaliers players in the lineup this afternoon for Jamaica.
Yeah, they would have a taste against Trinidad and Tobago opposition last year in the Caribbean Cup. Of course, when they faced both Defense Force and AC Port of Spain.
No. Doesn't seem to enjoy what's going on, but tell you what, Jovin Jones and Kaleem Highland to your far left of your screen. 2 players, well, with the caps combined, significantly more. That's what's assembled on the field at the moment.
Yeah, both Highland and Jovin Jones are in their 90s, that's for sure. Yeah.
Stark contrast to these young men on the bench, particularly that man in the middle, Dixon, scored the winning goal in the last match. He did score in a warm-up prior to coming to Trinidad and Tobago as well. Former part of the Clarendon College team that did very well in the ISA schoolboy football, and potentially a budding young star in the Jamaica ranks.
Yeah, some fantastic talent coming out of Jamaica. As you said earlier, obviously always athletic, and they're now coming with that tactical knowledge as well, and really, really promising for Jamaican football.
Yeah, many young talent on show. Lots of young talent coming out of Easter Schoolboy football, and that's one of the leading scorers in the Trinidad and Tobago Premier League, Kevon Showtime Woodley. Now just about 36 years old, but he certainly got lots of goals still in his boots. You played against him, Redanfa?
Certainly a handful, a very clever striker. You look at him and you think, oh, this is going to be an easy evening, but it never is with Showtime. He always finds a way. As I said, very smart, intelligent footballer.
Oh, here's Punanjaron. To start his professional career playing in Argentina before returning home, currently with the league leaders AC Port of Spain. Primus played at 2 Youth World Cups for Trinidad and Tobago. Just over 10 caps of the national senior team though, due to lots of injuries. Did play in Russia, in Kazakhstan in part of his career.
Yeah, played against him in Kazakhstan and I played with him in India. Really good teammate of mine, excellent to play with, reads the game well, has good pace, good stature, physically on point. Always a good communicator as well. It's really a joy and an ease to play with him. And
this man in your frame, Russ Jr., son of former TNT international goalkeeper Ross Russell. It's a family affair. Well, here's Goddard. Punanjaron with the touch. Just losing the physical battle there for that one, Goddard. Well, thrown himself in some trouble, Rosso.
So I prefer to see that from Rushford, that attempt to get forward. Even if it's a longer ball, it threatens in behind, it forces Jamaica to defend. And even from the second balls, you see they're in and around there, they could gain possession high up the field and they can play from there. When you come short, the guy's coming right behind you, there's nowhere to go, and it's just back the other way again.
Well, Rush Jr. has made that bombing run forward. Just couldn't get to him in the end. First time we've seen him venture that far forward. Does enjoy getting forward. Haven't seen it much from him at the international level.
But certainly at club level, yeah, he's a flying wing back. He's always up there.
Well, to your left of your screen, father-son combination. Alvin and Anton Cornell, both former national coaches, and one current national technical director.
Yeah, it seems that they've been around football forever. He's been my coach at the national under-20 level, and he looks the same. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but...
that's a fair point. Daniel James tried to wiggle his way through past King couldn't. And been called against them. Tell you what, Jamal Jack has remained down, and that's exactly what Punanjaron is pointing at.
Yeah, he was caught late. And there was no call from the referee in a very similar tackle to what Punanjaron was called for.
Late recall for Jack, former Caribbean Cup winner with Central FC. Has made somewhat of a resurgence on the local scene, playing with Club Sando. Just about mid-table in the standings. And, well, it's earned him a recall to the national senior team.
Yeah, he's been solid for them. With Trinidad moving to Jamaica, he's filled that gap perfectly, and he's done well for them.
Well, Mockett wants to get things going. Oh, that was incisive, but Denzel Smith had his eyes on it all the way through. No team has really dominated this match. It's ebbed and flowed, and both teams have had spells. That's all it's really been. Mockett. Well, that's a good ball to get Rushford going. Punanjaron. Oh, they're swarming around him and no room to get out of trouble. Maybe now they can pinch it back. It's well done by the Jamaicans as King glides away from the pressure.
Could Rushford in that instance trust himself to get across his defender, get his body across, force him to do the only thing that he can is foul.
Well, Nathaniel James perhaps can, but the flag does go up. Don't tell that to the crowd, though. They're on their feet as it slammed into the back of the net. Won't conk, though. But that's a sign of exactly what he could do.
Yeah, we talked about it. When you win the football, you want to be positive and go forward. And that one instance at Trinidad and Tobago is they got this situation. Ball one there in that half. And look at the run there by Nathaniel James. Oh, boy, I tell you what.
We always say it's tough from that angle, and the linesman, the assistant referee, always has the best view. Oof, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced. Not by that angle, anyway.
Rousseau. Right. Losing out to Goddard, who, well, just hoops it in the air, really. And Nathaniel James can salvage it for the men in red. Jones finds Moquette, who had gone forward. Not one of the silky touches that we have come to expect from Dwayne Moquette.
So that's the surface again. It's a little bit soft underfoot. So when you try to pivot and turn at speed, he's lost his foot in there, and he's probably has on the wrong equipment, and he's unable to turn and garner a chance, instead losing possession.
So clock ticking down, just about a minute and a half remaining in the first half. No goals yet in this fixture. Although came close here. Goddard finding Nathaniel James. And the man from La Hocketa in Trinidad and Tobago, showing exactly how lethal he could be. Fortunately didn't count. Well, this is inviting. And right, well, had it on his left, but he couldn't muster up the power required. Rousseau. Jamaicans trying to get something before halftime. But he's lost that one, Primus, but Jack bails him out of trouble. We'll try again. Here's Cunningham. What a clever ball. And Alex Marshall couldn't find his man in the end. Ming had made that run in behind. They're piling on pressure. Here's Romario King. Denzel Smith was there. Ball needed some quality. Jean-Paul Rushford couldn't provide it. So we've just entered the 1 minute of time added. Well, central defenders have lost it. And eventually Primus got his frame across the big man right who had gotten in.
Superb coverage from Primus. Good from Jack as well to get his body in the way and just slow the attacker down. And good coverage in the end.
Flashes of perhaps what could have been from both teams so far in this fixture. Nothing materializing inside the first 45 minutes of play that we've seen so far. And Cecile Hines has seen enough for the first 45. Both teams have huffed and puffed, but they've failed to blow the door in terms of goals. Robert Primus has been solid in defense. Alvin Jones has had some forays forward. That man, Alex Marshall, threatened bits and pieces. But no success in front of goal to both of these teams. Both coaches, though, might be happy that they managed to keep a clean sheet, but they'd want more in the second half, because at the end of 45 minutes, it's Trinidad and Tobago 0, Jamaica 0. We take a pause and we come back. 45 minutes of what ifs and possibilities, but still goalless between Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica. Friendly international match here at the Larry Gomes Stadium in East Trinidad. Hello everybody, James Saunders is my name. And in a second, we're going to look back at some of the action as it unfolded in the first 45. Prayers and well wishes for a good match started things off. And it was the Jamaicans with the early set of action. That one flashing over the top from Andrew Fletcher. And then later on, Thomas was able to get in behind, caused some bit of havoc. Alex Marshall, for all his trickery, couldn't get past Goddard. But he did cause moments of panic. Rush Jr. to the rescue. And not even Romario Guthrie could stick it past Denzel Smith. When he did, the upright stood in his path. Close call for the Soga Warriors. Guthrie perhaps believing he deserved a lot more. And then later was King's center. And Denzel Smith, well, steady as always. That was all 45 minutes provided. Not much chances for the men in red, but let's see what the numbers tell us. Might paint a clearer picture of the action. And when you look at shots, no shots for Trinidad and Tobago, although Jamaica were able to muster 3 shots, one of which was on target. As always, quite a physical contest. 9 fouls committed, 5 in favor of the Jamaicans. And no real saves for the Jamaican captain in goal, Davis, and 1 for Denzel Smith. Goalless the scoreline. Hans Veens is standing by with 2 men who know a lot about football matches, Brent Sancho and Radanfa Abubakar.
Thank you very much, James. Gentlemen, first half 0-0, 0 shots for Trinidad and Tobago. Let's talk about the way that both teams approach this first half tactically.
Well, I think from a Jamaican perspective, very early we saw they went very direct.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're trying to bypass the middle of the park, a congested middle of the park. And of course the surface as well hasn't been the best. That being said, when they get to the outlets of Alex Marshall and Fletcher and Wright, they've been very capable. They've been tricky in the way their movement, their pace and their understanding of trying to go ahead has caused the Trinidadians some sorts of problem throughout the game. But it's a game with low goal scoring and of course goal mouth activity as well. And I think both coaches would be disappointed in that fact, but I think they'll be happy that defensively they've kept it clean.
Before we move on to Trinidad and Tobago, although it's a friendly, do you see coach bringing on Dixon?
I think so. I think he would want to see him in this sort of situation. The last game he played on Friday was behind closed doors. Maybe he could bring something different to this football game coming off the left-hand side. We saw him play through the middle of the park in the last 10 minutes or so in the game, so maybe that's an option that they could turn to.
Well, Jamaica went for the 4-3-3, Trinidad and Tobago the 4-5-1 formation. Let's talk about Trinidad and Tobago and our approach.
Yeah, Punangaran and Goddard sat there and just sort of were breaking up what Jamaica was trying to create. It's a typical Angus sort of setup where he doesn't lose the first half and tries to push on to win the second half. So he's done that, so job done for the first half, I suppose. What I would like to see them do more is be more adventurous in attack, be more positive when they get the ball in and around, especially in transition, to play that positive pass forward and get up and support a sort of lightweight 9 in James. He has 2 big centre backs to contend with. So could they get up and support him a little faster? When he does drop deep, could they go beyond him and stretch the Jamaican defense? They've done that a couple of times when Punangaran and Muckett have dropped into this full-back role, and they've sent Rush Jr. and Alvin Jones up the pitch. So that pushes over inside, and that pushes Rushford inside to overload their midfield. That works, but it hasn't happened enough, and they've been bogged down sometimes and lacked options going forward.
Well, Radanfa, you mentioned the pitch a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the pitch and the way it's affecting the gameplay right now.
We lamented it, Radanfa. Of course, we talked about it with the football and the surface. Of course, here in the Larry Gomes Stadium, there are a lot of divots in it. Radanfa, you did say the grass is cut a bit too short for your liking. And when the ball is played through on a couple occasions, we're seeing that the ball is bubbling and coming towards the player, which means the player head has to go down before he takes a touch and play a pass. In most instances, when a player gets the ball, he wants to play first time. But when the ball is bubbling, it's difficult to be playing that first time ball. And I think that is why we've seen the game fluidity has been broken up. It's not been as, of course, the type of fixture that we think when you have players like Muckett and of course, Punanchanon and James, etc., who are very clever at playing those balls around in our time. And I think Trinidad and Tobago has suffered more because of the facility than the Jamaicans. They've adapted and they've been going direct.
Yeah, well, both teams had a little bit of excitement. Jamaica hitting the post on Trinidad and Tobago's side, and we had that Nathaniel James offside call as well. So moving into the second half, guys, what do we expect?
Like I said, we need to be more positive in attack. Could you play the ball positively forward and support your attacking players? Use the surface to your advantage as well. If you turn their defense, then they have to defend. No, they have to think about the surface more than you do.
Yeah.
A couple of times, Muckett and Poon Overy and Nathaniel James had got forward. They look threatening, but they have to be able and be willing to turn the defense, make selfless runs to create space for the midfielders to come into, because at the moment there's just too much congestion in there.
I think from a Jamaica perspective, they utilize that big switch in the game on Friday. We haven't seen it at all this afternoon. Maybe they would look to do that. Of course, you mentioned Dixon coming and playing in the middle of the park and picking up those second balls and keeping Trinidad and Tobago under some pressure. I think tactically Jamaicans are fine. If they are to make changes, that would be the change, and probably looking at Dixon coming in.
Well, y'all out there, we urge you to download the SportsMax app and stay up to date with everything that's happening in the entire world of sport. The score here at Larry Gomes Stadium in Arima, Trinidad and Tobago 0, Jamaica 0. When we come back, second half action.
All the grass is green, the sky is blue, and the football action, well, it's live just for you. Welcome back to SportsMax coverage of the friendly international between Jamaica And the Soca Warriors, Trinidad and Tobago, goalless after 45 minutes. 45 more to go. And well, we certainly hope that we get some goals. James Saunders is my name, joined by Brent Sancho and Radanfa Abubakar in commentary as we get set for what is expected to be an entertaining second half. Welcome all of our viewers across the region on SportsMax, on YouTube, as well as the SportsMax app. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago, the host of this friendly international match. These teams have met each other 4 times in the last 12 months or so. Jamaicans leading head-to-head. 2 wins, a defeat, and 1 win for Trinidad and Tobago. That could change today. Smile on the face of Cecile Hines. Well, she's little, but she's talawa when it comes to conducting football matches. Rondell Gibson, that man in your frame, the only change, replacing Dwayne Marquette. Jamaica lineup remaining unchanged from what we saw in the first half, and we're off. The first pass from Rondell Gibson, needing a bit of calibration. Ming. Oh, the tempo of the pitch has gone up. Air of excitement in the air around the Larry Gomes Stadium, and much anticipation. Oh, here's Primus. Jack. Alvin Jones, the most senior of the players in the 11 for Trinidad and Tobago. 48 caps for the defender. Of course, famous for his goals against the USA, one of which famously knocked them out of World Cup contention. Well, that's well won by Ming. Ross Russell Jr. happy to see that out of play.
Yeah, it's a straight swap for Trinidad in midfield. Mock it out and Gibson in. Gibson was impressive on his debut in the last game. So he's in a little look in again, and he'll be keen on impressing here. He's comfortable in possession, but he will have to do his defensive work as well.
Well, here's Goddard. Kylie Aubrey likes his kind of one-on-one position. Gibson gone past, but he couldn't get past that man King in the end.
Really love that run from Gibson again. Kylie Aubrey creates his space by taking his man inside, and that selfless long bursting run around him to create space and to get an opportunity to cross. Trinidad lacked that a bit in the first half, and I'm happy to see Gibson giving them that option straight away.
King just organizing his defense as Jean-Paul Rushford lines up at Trinidad and Tobago center. Well, it's good. Aubrey might have gotten a touch. It's away by the Jamaicans. Fletcher getting the final touch. Appeals for handball. No call given. He's been on trouble, that man. Shaquan Davis in goal. Oh. Bold as ever. He brings that out of defense. "13 goals combined for the Jamaican attacking players. Fletcher, Wright, and Thomas. Fletcher scoring 6 goals so far in 14 appearances this season. Thomas with 5 goals in 13. Just 2 for Wright. Given an opportunity to show their wares at the international level. Well, Anglin had an idea, couldn't find the right angle. And now Ming is kept out.
Yeah, the numbers on those strikers tell you a story that they're talented boys. And again, perfect opportunity for them to show their worth and push for a place in the final Copa playoff squad.
Well, this is positive. Denzel Smith got his paws on it. Good looking for Thomas, but he was denied.
Sharp reflexes, really cat-like reflexes there. We have 3 Trinidad and Tobago players unable to clear. It's a little bit windy, but communication is going to help solve that problem. And in the end, Denzel Smith had to bail them out.
Oh, they've been forced to defend yet another corner. Pressure being applied. It is quite noisy here at the Larry Gomes Stadium. The communication certainly lacking. All the Jamaicans happy to gamble big numbers forward. All 11 or 10 Jamaican players inside the TNT half as Gucci swings this one in. Away by Jack. They will come again with King off the back of Poonajaron. Second round. And this time it's Alvin Jones with the clearance. And the Soca Warriors could be away here. No real fluidity in attack for either of these teams so far. Or maybe now, Wright can get Alex Marshall involved. In the area. Well, Denzel Smith was brave and there's a whistle. Well, in the words of Barrington Levy, they're living dangerously.
Yeah, the ball sort of held up in the breeze and made it difficult for Alvin Jones and Robert Primus to sort of read. It's come in between those two. And somehow the Jamaican attacker was able to control before he even got a shot off. And they're lucky that Denzel Smith was able to scramble at the feet of the attacker and scupper that attack.
Primus lost possession. Easy for Smith in the end. Aubrey. It's a throw for Jamaica. It's won by Aubrey. He's got his club teammate ahead of him, but he was... Referee says play on. No foul. Anglin. Richard King. Oh, Shaquille Davis. Shaquan Davis. Quite comfortable with the ball on his feet. S. King. It's found the right. Jamal Jack to deal with. And Kylie Aubrey could be away. Too far ahead of the intended target, Nathaniel James. And finally, play will be called back. Wright seemed to take a heavy knock as he challenged for that last one.
Yeah, he ran into the wall of Jamal Jack. Stiff challenge, as all challenges from Jamal Jack are.
He's had a tough time this afternoon. Jean-Paul Rushford hasn't really found space going forward, but this is what happened.
Yeah, he's come around the side of him, and he was the meat and the sandwich of Goddard and Jack, and in fact, it probably was the elbow of Goddard just caught him at the side of the head or the side of the face. That might shake him up a bit, but he's on his feet, so should be okay.
Oh, there's a popular parang figure in Trinidad and Tobago. Goes by the name of Rome in the Manchester United top. Well, sure he didn't have much joy earlier today. Might be seeking some more joy from another team in red.
Yeah.
Well, this is what happened earlier.
Yeah, that's a good save. He would have seen it late. But he got across there. There was a lot of power hit with that one by Fletcher.
Yeah, not only the power, there were a couple of defenders flailing their legs in an attempt to block it, so you wouldn't have seen that until it passed their legs. So that's a superb save.
Goddard. Nathaniel James coming from an offside position. Ross Jr. Kylie Aubrey just stumbling over that one. Well, the game has lacked some fluency. Both teams struggling to string passes together on the bumpy surface here at the Larry Gomes Stadium. Hasn't lacked that though, grit from that man in particular, Jamal Jack.
Yeah, he relishes these kinds of games where he could show the strength of his game, which is indeed his strength.
Both teams happy to build up in their own third as the Jamaicans try a more direct approach. It's right this time against Jack. This time Wright coming out on top. But Fletcher not so lucky. Kylie Aubrey has some space now. Needs a supporting cast. Well, he's lost one, he's lost two. And he's got the full crowd support behind him. Poonanjaron. Rondell Gibson needs a sighted goal. Did get one, but there was a whistle. Of the local fans certainly appreciating the effort from the Trinidad and Tobago.
That's well worked, and that all started from Primus winning the ball and being positive in transition. As soon as you want it head up, it's a forward pass and send Kylie Aubrey on his way. They could get grounded, they could get attacking, they could be positive, they could put Jamaica on the back foot. But if they win it and they're pedestrian and they play back and they play side, it's easy for them now to regroup and reorganize.
On the other end, Fletcher is making a bold forward, and this time he loses that battle to the Great Wall of Jack.
Outstanding from Jack once more.
The try again though. This time Wright is there. And it's Robert Primus using all of his experience.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. That's so good from Big Primus there. Jack just had a tussle of his own, so he was a little bit winded and didn't see his man coming across behind him. Primus had to be alert, and he was, and he used his body, shielded it out. That's top defending from him.
Well, cross the wires, miscommunication, and a gifted corner to the Reggae boys.
Could the heat and the intensity of the game beginning to start to take its toll here? That's definitely an unforced error.
Will be Alex Marshall. Deep in the area, and Denzel Smith comfortable. Promising foray forward for the men in black. Well, Ross Jr. relishes these charges forward. He's got Aubrey, Nathaniel James in support in the middle. Jean-Paul Rushford arriving deep. Well, found none of them, but it created a moment.
It's a good effort. Again, positive, running at his defender, trying to get into the box as quickly as possible. That's a little bubble just as he was about to play, but could I have a number 9, a breaking midfielder, get across the front of those defenders and stick a foot in there? Nathaniel James perhaps fraction of a second too late.
Well, perhaps the best attacking moment for the men in red. Here's Jack. Goddard finding a bit more room in the second half. Russell. Just lost his angle. Closed down by Marshall. He's got Goddard now in support. And the crowd appreciating the attempt. Now Jamaica lining up 4 substitutes to come in. First they will have to defend as Alvin Jones gets forward. And that's too long for any of them. Here's Marshall. There's lots of rumors about him being a transfer target of the likes of Tottenham and Liverpool back in 2017. Alex Marshall.
Yeah, he actually spent 2 years at Halifax Wanderers with the likes of John Michael Williams and Stephen Hart and the coaching staff there.
King. Marshall. Losing possession. Well, Marshall has got time now. And, well, came to a disappointing end. Nothing about Marshall, though. He was back in 2014, the MVP of the CONCACAF Under-17 Cup. Oh, who wants to be the MVP today? Need a better delivery. And an opportunity now for the men from Wood and Water to make a couple of changes. Fabian Reed among those lined up to come in. So to Stephen Young. Goal scorer from the last match, Kaim Dixon as well. And Emilio Rosso will be among those sacrificed. A goalkeeping change as well with young Jaden Hibbert, the Atlanta United goalkeeper, also among those coming in. So 5 changes for the Reggae Boys. That man, Stephen Young, among them coming in. Kaim Dixon, his goal separating the teams 2 days ago in Port of Spain. Well, Angelin will get a rest. So to Emilio Rosso. Stephen Thomas also getting a rest. And 1 change to Trinidad and Tobago. And it's Justin Obekwu, made his debut 2 days ago in Port of Spain. And he will replace Jean-Paul Rushford. And, well, also coming in as well for Trinidad and Tobago, goalkeeping change. And Christopher Biggott, the Defence Force goalkeeper, replacing Denzel Smith. Justin Obekwu plays his club football with English Division 2 team, Coventry City.
And he will go straight ahead to play the centre forward. He's the traditional number 9 now. James is going to go out wide right, so he could use his left foot when he's coming off that flank.
Just 2 players. So as Obekwu gets his first touch, 2 players playing internationally were called up for this match. Obekwu plays in the English Division 2, and Kai Garvey plays in the Canadian football. And well, that's going to be a foul. All the others, 7 uncapped players, called up by Angus Eve, and a couple of the local boys looking to perhaps make their way into his Copa America squad. Couple schoolboys as well, called up by Jamaica coach Ima Halgrimson. Dixon, of course, was a hero in the ISA final for Clarendon College. Here's Marshall. Well, it's opened up some space nicely here. And just marshaled out well.
There's the pace and experience of Robert Primus again. Done well. That isn't easy to deal with, and he's got across quickly. He's read the situation, got his body in between the man and the ball. Ushered us out, showed good strength as well.
Here's Ross Jr. Primus. So top left. Well, I'll tell you all you need to know about the changes made by either team. Done well to come out of that situation. Salvin Jones looking for movement ahead of him. He picks out Nathaniel James. Well, he's done well to thread the needle, but the flag is up. Kylie Aubrey never saw it. Didn't matter though. Came off the defender. Marissa Nichols had a flag up quite early.
Yeah, good move. That's what you get from Nathaniel James when he's faced his own goal. When he plays at the 9, he has his back to the goal most of the time. Creative, good left foot. Able to spot that pass. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Tight call that.
Or space here for Romario Guthrie. And it's won in the end by Poonanjaran. Nathaniel James, he's got some space to exploit. Kylie Aubrey trying to give him some support.
He's got to release it there. Got to send Obiku away. Could you get it into feet and continue on in your run? But with every touch, he's closing his own space and eventually ran into trouble.
Well, this is deflected. Big Arts is there. Big Arts, of course, plays for the defending league champions, Defense Force. Another one of the contenders vying for that #1 goalkeeping position. Oh, that's too long for Ibuku. Will be a Trinidad and Tobago throw.
I think he'd probably better serve playing that one on the surface instead of trying to lift it in the air. There's room down the line to just curve your pass.
Yeah.
As we see some of the subs warming up, but I think those are the little things in the game, gentlemen, that is maybe the reason why we still at 0-0. There's little lapse of concentration, poor execution, poor decision making, and that is the reason why, despite some of some good individual play in general, it's been difficult like this. This is tough.
Yeah, Primus is not going to thank Ross Jr. for that pass. But they still get out of danger and they're able to reorganize.
Oh, Hebat with a short chase, but he also wants it quite comfortably. And of course, those guys, the melody makers. Space for Kylie Aubrey. Big Who's going ahead of him. Well, he's done well, Rondell Gibson, as Aubrey holds on to it. Has he been tripped up? He has. It's a free kick.
Big chance this. In a game that's too tight, you have a free kick in and around the area, you have to take advantage of something like this. And it was all made from the genius or perhaps a little bit of fortune on the side of Gibson, but it did just squirm through to Aubrey, who was able to earn the free kick in a really promising position.
Well, they'll have to wait as the water break has been summoned. 22 minutes remaining in this fixture, and boys will go off to have a drink and perhaps some cooler talk.
Yeah, perhaps a final tactical reshuffle. There have been personnel changes big time on the side of Jamaica, 6-7 odd changes. Trinidad has only changed one outfield player, so I wonder if it's in Angus's mind to shuffle the pack a little bit, get a few fresh legs in, or is he content with giving this 11 a full 90-minute run out?
Already Jamaica has made several changes, and they've used this exercise to give as many minutes as possible to the entire contingent that is here. one thing for sure is that they're very much, of course, in sync as to their tactics here today, which is going direct. The likes of Jason Wright in particular, Fletcher when he was supporting him, and Marshall of quite a bit of a handful. They get in and among the defenders and make it very uncomfortable.
Yeah, some instructions to the two Trinidad and Tobago central defenders. They've had quite a workout today so far, and they've just about dealt with everything that Jamaica has thrown at them. Still 20-odd minutes to concentrate and maintain that clean sheet. I'm sure that certainly would have been one of the bullet points on the goals for Trinidad and Tobago this afternoon.
Well, here's a side that might get some Trinidad and Tobago fans excited. Alvin Jones lining up over this one. Last squad when Trinidad and Tobago played USA in the CONCACAF Nations League in Port of Spain, a 2-1 win for the Soca Warriors. And he scored from a very similar position. He's well known for his set-piece ability. Oh, tell that to anybody in the USA. Scored twice against them from such a range. Does come from a strong heritage. His father, Kelvin Jones, played with the famous Strike Squad back in 1989. And his older brother, Jobin Jones, the former Seattle Sounders and Inter Miami player, has a chance to create his own legacy now. There's Jones, deflected. Oh, Hibbert more than anybody will be happy to see that fly over his crossbar.
Yeah, not easy to get it up and over the wall and under the crossbar. Went for power there and just flicked off the top of the wall and still get themselves a corner.
But it's Nathaniel James lining up over this one. Likes of Robert Primus inside the area. They'll have to try again though. Don't forget, you can download and watch all of the action via our SportsMax app. Get it today on Google Play or download it from the Apple App Store. SportsMax app where you can capture all of the action live and on the go. Well, the fans are crying out for a goal. Wherever you're watching from. Montego Bay, Kingston. Oh. Even Ocho Rios might have skipped a beat though as that one just landed over Hibbert's net. And of course the fans of Trinidad and Tobago here at the Larry Gomes Stadium. Fabian Reed will have a chase on his hands. And it's only just come on, Stephen Young. But he's taken a knock and will need some time to recover. More changes, though, are being lined up by Halgimson. Justin Dunn, the leading scorer in the JPL, looks set to come in. Kat Stewart and Devontae Campbell also set to come in. And Alex Marshall will get a rest after all of his hard work. And Wright will be replaced by the man who has scored 11 goals this season for Tivoli Gardens, Justin Dunn. Well, here's another Justin Ubiku. Couldn't put his feet on it though. rotated his play as well, Halgrimson, over the course of the 2 matches. Did say he would attempt to give each player 90 minutes. He's done exactly that over the course of 2 matches. Angus Eve, on the other hand, did it a bit differently. Oh, they're connecting the dots now. They're lining up numbers inside of the area, the Reggae Boys, and well, it's got a yard of pace. And well won in the end by Jamal Jack.
Superb again from Jack, reading the danger, stepping across, winning it, and distributing it forward as well.
Clock ticking down, 15 minutes is all that remains. Jack just getting ahead of Primus. Here's Dixon. Heavy touch on Dixon. Vantage played. Oh, they're building confidence now, the Reggae Boys. Away by Punajaron. Here's Obiku. Well, it's invited pressure. Alvin Jones had to bail them out. Well, give his man the old banana peel, and the Soca Warriors are away now. Gibson. Nobody home. Possession gifted.
Got his wires crossed there, but again, Angeron looking for an option forward. Neither is Obiku or Nathaniel James coming short or going long. They're sort of just marking themselves against the centre backs. So that means Angeron is hesitating with his pass. So they need to make a decision for Angeron with their run. It's either they're coming short or they're going in behind. They're sort of neither doing both at the moment.
Well, Nathaniel James, his afternoon is done. And in comes his former national under-20 teammate, Kym Thomas.
Another that was decent in the first game, and these 2 substitutes of Thomas and Gibson suggest to me that Angus believes that as well, that these 2 can as well fight for a place in his full squad.
Well, it's all up for grabs now. Still no goals after 78 minutes of action. It's Thomas. Probing. Fabian Reed is there. And Jamaica could be through. And that's brave goalkeeping in the end from Christopher Bigot. Wonderful opportunity for Kym Dixon. Well, Obiku might have just been handed a gift. But Hibbert was first. Excellent from the 19-year-old.
Tell you what, that was solid goalkeeping there by young Hibbert, because he was at 60-40, but he made it his.
Yeah, really
60-40 him losing.
On-rushing attacker there, and he needed to be courageous. That was top goalkeeping.
I think once Abuku got it here and got past his defender, Hibbert was certainly in a deficit, but he made it his own. I know many goalkeepers, Rodampa, who would not have gone for that. Inclusive of myself if I was a goalkeeper.
Good solid claw to get it away. So among the plethora of changes for Jamaica, King, who started at centre back, is now sitting in the defensive midfield. I'm not sure if that's an indication that they're satisfied with the draw.
Should say that the result didn't matter much to him, Hal Haldimson. He's more concerned about the individual performances.
Yeah.
Players seeking to break into the first team.
That also shows King's adaptability. And when it goes long, he sort of sits in between the two centre backs, almost like a back five. He's protecting them when the ball is higher up, but when it goes long, he drops deeper.
It's Primus.
It's good.
Trying to find space between the lines of black ahead of them.
Good ball.
Well, he's managed to get in behind his man, Alvin Jones, and then the Kung Fu style kick. Well, didn't quite pan out for him, did it?
Yeah, the ball just not coming down in time for him, and the defender was able to get across and block the cross.
Oh, they'll regroup and come again. Oh, here's Kylie Aubrey. It's got the magic feet. Goes back to big Robert Primus. Goddard. Well, Jamal Jack wants to take things into his own hands. Didn't quite work out as expected. Or maybe now. Kaim Thomas with the rogue touch. Oh, that might earn him some attention from the referee. And, well, it's going against King, who thought that he might have been the recipient of the call.
Yeah, and the Jamaican bench thinks so as well. That's a curious call, but got to play on.
Oh, here's Kylie Aubrey. Needs some support. Finds it in Rush Jr. Jamal Jack. Pressure being applied by Trinidad and Tobago and Alvin Jones. Well, won't get tipped for that type of service.
That's a little disappointing. Again, he had one in the first half, very similar. Able to work that yard of space, but the delivery isn't quite there.
Well, time for a SportsMax moment. And it was Denzel Superman Smith. Well, they call him a man of steel, but he's got the fist of steel this time. Pouring away that effort. And that earns him a SportsMax app moment. King. Couldn't pick out Dunn. Will be a Warriors show. So Devontae Campbell has gone to ground.
Yeah, the ice baths will be in order for some of the Jamaican players after this game. After they've run into Jamal Jack and Primus. Quite a few knocks in this one.
John Paul Rushford lives just about a mile away from this venue. Might be very happy with his output. Of course, looking to break his way back into the senior team.
He certainly would have wanted to show more today, but it just didn't happen for him.
All the Reggae boys seem a tad content with the result. Soca Warriors, after having been beaten in the first match, perhaps would relish getting a winner in this one. Well, here's Dixon. Red light. Gibson losing out and done. Oh. Lacked gravity. Went up, never came down. Well, Punanjaran is the man being summoned to the sidelines, with Defense Forces Justin Sadu set to come in.
More or less a like for like. Sadu's going to sit down there, be the double pivot with Goddard. I think at this time, Angus Eve is probably not looking to lose a goal rather than trying to go for one.
Stewart. Couldn't find Dixon. Goddard. Obeku doing enough to keep it. Skyly Aubrey. And Hall couldn't get past his man that time. As Rush Jr. in support. Just behind anybody wearing a red shirt as Don rescues possession for the Reggae boys as it eventually goes out into touch. Aubrey. Sadu. Jack wants it quickly. Jamaica happy to sit and defend. The Soca Warriors applying pressure. Got Ross Jr. This time Ross Jr. could be in. That's good defending from King.
That's good play to earn the corner. Good positive stuff from Ross Jr. to play and go beyond his man. And just by doing that, they force Jamaica to defend and they force a corner.
Skyrim Thomas. It's away by Romario Guthrie. Thomas. Aubrey. Attacking space. Thinking about a shot. And it's away now by Jamaica. And Devontae Campbell just held back. And a yellow card will be issued to the offending party. Alvin Jones pleading his cause, but Cecile Hines, she's seen enough.
Yeah, good foul though. Breaking up the play, they were away and there was no way he was catching back up there. Took one for the team.
Well, almost took his shirt off there, Alvin Jones.
Yeah, can have no arguments about that card, of course.
1 minute and a half is all that remains, and a bit of a break as two players are down, and oh, look at that man. Kenwin Jones, one of the most recognizable faces in local football, former Sunderland and Atlanta United striker. It's also part of the women's setup as head coach several years ago.
Yeah, how much would Angus Eve love to have a 9 like him now?
Well, the clock might say 39 minutes. Still might be time for a change at least. And Well, you can just tell from the reception that the crowd has certainly appreciated the work of Kyle D'Auvry. Chevronne's Hamilton is the man coming in. More defensive-minded. What do you think the approach might be from Eve here?
Yeah, lock up shot. Make sure you don't concede at this stage. Auvry has run his race. He's given a good effort, especially he's improved in the second half. But just when you need that little bit of quality, maybe a little bit of luck just to work for him, it hasn't. And the Jamaicans have closed the door on him just in the nick of time for their sake. Every single time it looked like he might have been in. But he's been one of the more influential players for Trinidad and Tobago in the second half, that's for sure.
Obiku, he's got Hamilton with him. Thought he might have been offside for a second.
Yeah, he's just held it a bit too long.
Well, 4 minutes has been added. Not sure the Jamaicans will be happy with the extended time. For the home fans, though, might be a glimmer of hope. More changes, though. Mario Guthrie has run his course. And Jamon Shepherd is the next in line to replace him.
Yeah, Guthrie has been solid all game. He's broken up a lot of what Trinidad have been trying to create, has made it very difficult for them to play through the midfield. So he's definitely shown himself well to his coach today.
Well, it needed a positive touch. Cam Thomas can provide it. There's Jack Primus, Ross Jr. Chevronne's Hamilton. Just running out of room. Good defending from the Reggae boys.
Yeah, expert defending, good strength, good speed.
It's not a solid game, Ming.
Yeah, he's one of the few players that have played 90 minutes for Jamaica today, and for him to stand up to a fresh guy shows that tenacity, that pride and that passion that these Jamaicans play with, not allowing the defender to get the better of him.
Cecile Hines wants to get on with things.
It's good, he gets slow. Waits for the attacker to make his move, gets his body across. Excellent defender, no way pass for Hamilton.
Made his debut in the 1-0 loss to the Reggae boys on Friday. Hamilton played as a left back, being used a bit higher this time around. It's got Ross Jr. ahead, can keep it in, couldn't.
Might have hurt himself as well, or that maybe just a touch of cramp to sprint on the 94th minute and to have one stab behind your back and having to turn and scamper to keep it in play. That's not the easiest thing to deal with. But again, could we have that little bit of quality that would have played Ross Jr. in? It's been lacking all throughout the game. When Trinidad have gotten in decent positions, it's always sort of fallen apart in and around the final pass. Just not enough quality. Perhaps you could talk about the surface, but in the end, when you get in decent positions, you have to create a goal-scoring chance, and that hasn't happened well enough.
So Kyle Ming just getting back on his feet as the shot clock expires. Sule Makala would come in for the remaining seconds. Did start in the last match. That's up, and away, and the match is over. Cecile Hines has seen enough. 90 minutes, no goals. The Jamaicans will be content. a win and a draw on the road in their preparations. Well, Alvin Jones and company can smile as well. No goals conceded, job done. Although they might have fancied getting some joy for the home fans who came out on a Sunday afternoon. Angus Eve, lots of work to be done. Both coaches sharing a moment. Always a pleasure when these teams meet. For the young men on display, hope that they have done enough to perhaps solidify a spot on the rosters of both these teams for the CONCACAF Nations League and the Copa America playing. But at 90 minutes, Trinidad and Tobago 0, Jamaica 0. We take a pause and we come back. In fact, we will bring you the highlights of this match in a second, so stick around with us. "90 minutes of hard football action. And of course, the final casting call for the men of both the red, white, and black and the gold and green. In a second, we will have post-match analysis and interviews with the coaches. Also, we will have an opportunity to look back at the last 90 minutes and all of the action that took place. So it started here, 90 minutes. Unchanged change squad for both of these teams. Jamaicans started the brightest. First real effort, Andre Fletcher had grand ideas. And then Thomas and Alex Marshall combined. But Gollard was solid as ever. Marshall did create glimmers of hope in the first half, and Ricardo Gucci might have thought he did enough here to perhaps get on the score sheet. But the upright was the determining factor in the end. Denzel Smith beating all ends up. That was all for halftime. 3 shots on target, no shots for the Soca Warriors. Then in the second half, as it started, so it continued. And that time, Chanel Thomas forcing Denzel Smith into action. Then Kylie Aubrey started his dance lessons, creating some bright sparks and moments for the Soca Warriors. Poonanjaran joined the company, Gibson as well. Nowhere near the coordinates that they would have wanted. And then Aubrey came to life in the second half. And perhaps the best chance of the Warriors. Nobody home at the back door, Nathaniel James and company. Couldn't get at the end of it. Alvin Jones, usually lethal from this sort of range, could only find the wall ahead of him. As the Warriors' struggles in front of goal continued. And 90 minutes, well, produced hope and some flashes, but no goals. Let's look at the numbers and see if they tell us anything special. And when it came to shots, Jamaica certainly leading in that department, 6 versus 3. Not on target for the Soca Warriors though. 14 fouls committed, split right down the middle between the teams. And in terms of saves, Denzel Smith by far the busier of the goalkeepers. But the most important statistic is that of goals, and there were none to be had in this match. Goalless at the end of 90 minutes. Well, we saw the pictures, we heard the numbers. It is time now to get inside the minds of the coaches. And right now I've got Brent Sancho, and he's standing by with Coach Angus Eve and Jaime Halgrimson.
Coach, both coaches here join me here. I'm very lucky to have both of you at the same time. Gentlemen, I know you wanted to get something out of this weekend. Do you think you have achieved it?
Yeah, Most definitely. I think we were able to breed a lot of players who have never played for both countries before, and giving them this opportunity to see how they could stand up under this kind of scrutiny in a derby game like this was great for them.
Especially now when the fans were here, it was much more kind of intense game than it was 2 days ago. So for the younger kids, really good to play this match.
Well, as we look forward to what's ahead for both of you, how does preparation move on as you go to your respective games?
No, I think our focus will switch to maybe a different kind of squad, bigger game, etc. And now we have not much, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks to prepare for our matches. So just a switch of focus. This was a project which is now, for me, finished in a bit. And for Jamaica, it's the Nations League semi-final, and then in the summer is the Copa America. So 2 big tournaments, and we need to fully focus if we want to do good on those tournaments.
Yeah, we were using this obviously in preparation for our playing match against Canada, and obviously we have World Cup in the summer also, and this was just a good exercise. It's an opportunity for us to help each other, help the region go forward, because we don't have enough football playing in the region, so that the guys who are not with the first team get these sort of runouts.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. I know both of you have your assessments to do afterwards. Congratulations on what you've been able to achieve. It's great to see this between the 2 countries, the 2 giants of the Caribbean.
Same.
Thank you very much.
You, Brent.
Well, there you have it. The men of Trinidad and Tobago unable to get a victory, but it's the same for Jamaica today as they prepare for their playoff in for that spot in Copa America against Canada, and also Jamaica, they get ready to face off against USA in the CONCACAF Nations League. As we get ready to wrap up, gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about the results today.
Well, I think as both coaches have mentioned, they talked about the exercise really being the opportunity to blend some of the uncapped players. I think certainly that has been able to take place here. But I think from a Trinidad and Tobago perspective in particular, they'll be disappointed in the second game because they would have had opportunities and they could have been a little bit more clinical in the execution end. But by and by, I think it served this purpose. It's good to see both coaches so close in sharing information, so close in sharing tactical approaches. I think it only bodes well for the game in the region.
Yeah, it's what we really speak to a lot, Brent, off camera. I know you're very passionate about that, about the more collaboration within the Caribbean. But going across you, James.
Yeah, absolutely agree with Brent. I think it was a good exercise for Caribbean football. 2 powerhouses in the Caribbean coming together, giving players who otherwise would not have this experience playing high-level international games to play against each other. It's something that we saw, last year in Hargrimson's first pilgrimage into Jamaica.
Yes.
We see it continuing today, and I think at the end of the exercise, both coaches would have learned a lot. Both players would have, sets of players would have gained valuable experience. But I think Hargrimson, he would be a bit more excited by what he's been able to accomplish away from home.
Now, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about standout performances as well. But Rodolfo, I need to get you.
I must agree with James. Yeah, it's an excellent exercise for both camps. I think on the Trinidad and Tobago side, in terms of Gibson and Kylie Overy, they would have done themselves proud today in pushing for a spot into that final squad for the Copa playoff. What the rest of the boys could probably do, including of Primus and Jack, who've been excellent today, they get back to the league form, see if they could catch some form going into this last 3 weeks and catch the eye of the coach. So if he's on the fence about if you're in or you're out, your league form now could show. Get a couple goals, get a couple clean sheets, and prove once again that you're capable of being within his squad.
Well, Rodolfo would have highlighted Gibson and, of course, Overy for Trinidad and Tobago. Any other standout performances, guys?
You'd have to say Dixon from Jamaica. He's done himself the world of goal. Alex Marshall as well, the young man that played out on both sides of the wing. His 1v1 capabilities and just his appetite to get forward has been excellent throughout the game. I think defensively for Jamaica, they've looked solid throughout. The likes of Ming in particular have stand out for them. So I agree with you. I think there really was some standout performance, individual ones. I think those sets of players could possibly try to find themselves within the core group that goes away.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a great day today. 0-0 the final score, Trinidad and Tobago versus Jamaica in this friendly matchup. But we get ready for TTPFL action on Wednesday. And of course, we're going to be bringing the action to you live on SportsMax. Central FC takes on Point Fortin Civic Look out for that matchup. And we also get ready for Terminex La Hoquita Rangers versus AC Port of Spain at the La Hoquita Recreation Ground. Yes, we're going to bring it to you, all the action. On behalf of the entire team, my name is Hans Evans. Thank you so much for watching. Again, the final score today at the Larry Gomes Stadium, Trinidad and Tobago 0, Jamaica 0. We'll see you next time.